Now, you have to make certain that you're on the same playing field as everybody else when you're doing these kind of things, Miss Latoya. See, you kiki and a ha-ha and laughing. She over there ready to fight. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for season 13, episode 8 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Miss Latoya, girl, I know you new to this and everything, but you pay attention because girl, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot now. I don't want you to get caught up and get hooked and slid and dragged and don't know what done happened now. You got to... We're going to talk about it. Just hold on. Just hold on, y'all. Okay, first things first. The girls are still on the bus. You know, they fussing about being on the bus versus Kenya and Latoya flying and all of this kind of carrying on. And then Candy actually was sticking up for Kenya and with the girls about bringing Brooklyn. Because that, I talked about it a little bit last week. You know, that was like it ended up being like a point of contention with the girls. They didn't feel that, you know, especially the ones that had younger babies. At the fact that she didn't give them the option to bring their babies as well. And Candy was telling them, you know, it's different because each one of you all have a backup system. And Kenya doesn't have a backup system. You know, her family dynamic is a little struggle and different things like that. And Candy was exactly right. Y'all know I'm not the big Kenya fan. I'm not rah Siskumball, Kenya. But it's the truth. It's the truth. For all intents and purposes, Kenya Moore is a single parent. She's a single parent without a very strong support system as far as family is concerned. And I definitely agree with Candy. Ain't nobody leaving their new baby. I don't even care if it was an old baby with stranger. Just not doing that. Overnight and all that. That's a whole nother dynamic. And, you know, it'd be different if she was running to the grocery store right fast. We're talking overnight. We're talking being bathed, being clothed, dealing with your baby, with the fact of your baby being apart from. Because, see, the babies go through other stuff, too. They're people. They're little people. So just like you miss them and go through when you're away from them, they miss you and go through being away from you. And they're little people, so they don't really know how to deal with that. So you got to have somebody that is good and somebody that you trust to be able to walk your child through those emotions and all that other stuff. And more so, the sleeping and the bathing and that takes a whole lot of trust. And I have to say, I'm one of them people that ain't really all that trusting when it comes to all that stuff. When it came to my kids, when they were real tiny, I just kind of disappeared from the social scene. I wasn't comfortable just leaving them. Just wasn't. And I had a backup. You know, I had my mother, you know, when the boys were small. You know, so I definitely get it. And I agree with everything that Candy has said. Everything. You can never, ever be too careful when it comes to small children. Doesn't matter what type of child you have, boy child, girl child, doesn't make a difference. You can never be too careful when it comes to that stuff. Kenya did exactly right. And Candy was exactly right. So that's that. That's what I had to say on that. Let's move on. Once they got there, okay, the first night, they had this whole thing. I thought it was kind of like corny. It was very corny. It was like a murder mystery plot thing that they had set up. But it was all done in good fun. But it was really corny. They were having more fun just doing their shots and chilling and being loud and dancing and twerking with each other and everything like that. Kenya got upset that the girls didn't really care. Like, nobody cares. And the only ones who really was all into it, Tanya and Candy. You know, Candy loves competition of any sort. Girl, don't nobody care, Candy. No one cares. Candy was so irritated, like, they're not paying attention. Girl, they're not paying attention because it's not fun, it's corny. Nobody cares. The girl, after a minute, the actors that she hired to do the murder mystery, the guys that was playing the cops, they was over there twerking with the girls. They was having a good time with the girls. They forgot what the hell they was there for because the shit was corny. It was corny. But you know that's Kenya. Kenya is a control freak. Kenya wants people doing what Kenya wants them to do. Kenya, shut up. Shut up, Eddie. Moving on. So, Latoya and Drew, honey, it got popped off right away. Right away. And what seems to have happened was this whole thing about little shade being thrown. Now, Latoya been throwing shade at Drew since the first scene we seen her. Drew has been on Latoya's radar this whole time. This whole time. She done double-crossed Marlo because Marlo gave her some cute little information, which you shouldn't have done anyway, Marlo. You should have shut your mouth. So I don't really feel sorry for you because you could have just kept that to yourself. You're not friends with Latoya like that. You didn't need to warn her about Kenya. Ain't none of your business. So you have to pick your battles. But she flipped it on you and she told Kenya everything that you said. And now you're in the mouth of the lion and didn't even realize that you're here on this vacation. You end up getting the shit room and you're already being treated, you know, subpar, and all shade and daggers are being thrown at you, all because of something you ran out your mouth with that wasn't necessary. You warning her about her, honey, that's her good girlfriend. And you run around trying to warn her, girl, sorry. Tucci takes precedence over warnings always. And that pillow talk is a mother, girl. Allegedly. I don't know what them girls be doing when I'm not looking, but I got a good idea, honey. Y'all know what it gives. Anyway, like I said, pillow talk will always win, honey. So now you got yourself in a kerfuffle, don't you? Anyway, but what we learned was that Latoya can dish it, but she can't take it. See, Drew done heard everything that you done said about her, the wig. Then she caught the shade that you threw about her husband and their little relationship and all that stuff. Well, she threw it back in the midst of a conversation. She said, oh, well, girl, Latoya don't care nothing about husbands. Because remember, Latoya, your situation with your husband is a damn mess. Remember you told us that? Girl, see. And Latoya didn't take that too well. She didn't take it too well. And then she was doing what Latoya does. She is from the islands. She's Caribbean descent and very touchy. You know, they're very touchy and they're very in your face and they do talk a lot with their hands. Well, old Drew is from Chicago. So all that hand talking and all that cute shit over in Chicago will get you what they call beat the hell up. Okay? Okay. So you're from the land, Latoya, of good food, dancing, and sexuality. Drew is from the land of good food, good music, and parties, and rumbling. Okay? Rumbling and crime, honey. So, girl, no ma'am. And you was trying to do an apology to her, and then you was kind of laughing, and it just wasn't going that way. And then you was really, I said, girl, you got to figure out what you're doing here because you all on this old cute shit. And Drew's actually ready to fight you. Like you could see it all in Drew. She was ready to swing on her. And I was like, girl, you're going to keep on and she's going to knock your block off. Like I hope you can fight because you're going to be needing to show us in a minute. And Drew was like, you could see Drew sizing her up, spacing herself. I said, old Drew, you fight. You know how to fight. I said, I see you, Drew. I see you. And she feeling some kind of way. She ain't like that stuff. Some of the stuff you had said touched her in her spirit, girl. Especially the stuff you said about her husband. I get it. So that was that. And I said, girl, Miss Latoya, you better be easy, girl. And I'm gonna give you another piece of advice that you may not take. You know all this little stuff you doing with Drew? Don't ever do any of that to Candy. Don't ever do any of that to Candy, girl. Stay friends with Candy because the way you move, You and Candy will be locking up, I'm telling you. Anyway, moving on. So Marlo and Candy had a little talk, and Marlo kind of divulged to Candy that she got touched in her spirit about how she was being treated. But again, Marlo, I only feel but so sorry for you because your mouth overloaded your ass. Now, Marlo was doing the most. You got a room. You don't like the room. Yeah, it looks like a little kid's room, but you have a room nonetheless. But you just bring drama to everything, and you overdo everything. So she has this whole thing where she's going to sleep on the couch. And she was just doing the most. You know how Marlo is, doing the most. But I will say, bitch, the bathing suit and the boots and the little beaded head scarf or roundstone head net and all the was clean. You know, y'all know Marlo. Marlo lets you all have it. She's a fashion girl. So I was like, come through, Marlo. But yeah, she was being extra. But she had got touched in her spirit. And she had told her, you know, she basically kind of wanted to bury the hatchet with Kenya. And, you know, she's like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and dead this. Because again, it is Kenya Moore. And that's one thing about Kenya. It's very hard to win with Kenya. Whether she right, wrong, indifferent, petty, overly petty, whatever it is, she knows how to win the hard way. So, you know, I like all that kind of stuff. So for that, you know, she's a good opponent. She's a good opponent. So I always like that about Kenya. And she'll go some lengths with you to be shady. Her petty is like, yeah. Anyway, so let's go to the first full day. The first full day, okay, after they wake up. Kenya, I don't know what this is, but it's a mess. The girls were feeling real slighted. They didn't like it. Kenya's behavior was kind of shady. Portia, you're getting on my nerves with this. Oh, I'm vegan. Whoops, people do this. I'm vegan. You're vegan. That's your stuff. It's your responsibility to have what you need to make sure you are accommodated because you know you are the odd man out. Ain't nobody else here vegan. And don't nobody else here want to keep hearing about the fact that you're vegan. No one cares. So there was a guy there. She had a guy. He was roasting a whole pig or whatever. But he was doing all that. So Portia's all like you're so, you know, oh. But girl, Miss Portia, you do know we know you greedy. We've known you for seasons and seasons and seasons before we got here. I think you're like number 2 on the list of greedy girls on there. It's a hard second. Candy, Cynthia, and Portia are 3 of the greediest chicks up on here. They like to eat. They do. They like to eat and they be serious about eating. You greedy. So don't try to act like all of a sudden meat just disgusts you. Girl, you've sucked so much of it down your throat. And we seen you. You know, this reality TV, most time on reality TV, you see them go to dinner, there'll never be no food being eaten. But you can rest assured on Real Housewives of Atlanta, if there's a scene where they somewhere eating, Cynthia, Portia, and Candy is going to be on screen eating their ass off because that's what they do. All 3 of them is greedy. All 3 of them is greedy. All 3 of them battle with keeping their weight to where it is because they like to eat. And ain't no problem with it. I like to eat too, honey. But I don't get so bent out of shape, honey, that I ain't got no small back. But they do. And they work, all 3 work very hard to keep their bodies in line because they greedy. Shit. Anyway, moving on. But she's doing a whole lot. The food. Can you act like there was a whole bunch of overabundance of food and stuff? No, knickknacks and paddywhacks. You know, they're used to like personal chefs on their vacations and they could just eat around the clock like they are on a cruise. No, Kenya didn't have none of that going on. It was like nothing was being done. Nothing was being served. They was out there to fend for themselves. They had some bacon and eggs they had to make themselves in the morning. And then Kenya ordered some Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever it was for her and Latoya. To the point where girls was like, they felt like it was Latoya and Kenya's little getaway. And they were just invited to come along. And it did look that way. It was shady as hell. It was shady as hell. So anyway, once they finally did get to eat, they bust out with the whole roasted pig thing, honey. And now when Tanya was asking the chef, can you cut me a piece? And she's like, she wasn't feeling like going over to the pig and like pulling a piece out. He was showing them, this is where the ribs is, this is where this is. They wasn't. It was just a pig on the table. I have to say, I've never actually been in the presence of like a whole roasted pig where it's time to eat. I don't think I'd be able to eat. And I love pork. Honey, look, I'm always having a pig party. But with everything all attached and I eat it all, but with it all attached and all there, I don't think I can go over there and just start pulling pieces off either. Fred Flintstone style. That just ain't my thing. Child greedy ass Candy was like, girl, this is a happy pig, honey. I said, and so are you, honey. But yeah, I don't think I could. I couldn't go over tearing pieces off the pig off either. And the man was kind of looking at her. That's why I was like, girl, this staff that you didn't order Kenya, way trifling. The accommodations of this little trip, way trifling, honey. This is real low budget, Kenya. Real low budget. Now, Fallon has actually gotten there too. Fallon came, but she's not even staying in the house with them because she brought her old man with her. Because I already told y'all about Fallon and her husband, honey. She's his baby doll, his Barbie doll, and that Barbie doll ain't getting nowhere too far away from him, honey, because he got to dress as Barbie. Anyway, but she ain't staying in the house, so that's that. So here we go. Latoya decides to do this shady apology, and they told her not to do it. She done bought Drew a wig, and she wants to try to present it to her when they all sitting down at the table. Now here we go again. And it was a shady apology. And Drew was like, girl, you know what? The thing is, it's okay. I accept your apology. And I'm telling you that, usually I get my wigs from one of the most noted stylists in Hollywood, not in Atlanta. So I would never even wear the wig. But I appreciate it. And I accept your apology. But I have a gift for you too. Baby, her counterattack was everything. She ran upstairs, baby. She came. And as she ran upstairs, Latoya threw more shade. Like, girl, what does she have on? I said, girl. She comes back down, honey, and had her little felt marker, honey, and signed an autograph promo photo, and said, girl, Peter, you're my biggest fan. Hey, this is what I do for my fans. Honey, and leaned over there and gave her a kiss. Told her, here you go, honey. Because the night before, they was telling her about, girl, touch it. She's like, don't ever touch me. Like, just don't do it. Don't ever touch me. But don't touch me. Girl, she went over, leaned over, and gave her a little kiss, honey, and told her, you're my biggest fan, so thank you. I said, oh, girl, she got you. Now, that was some good shade there, Miss Drew. Real good shade, honey. So she let you know, I'm with the shits, but I also whoop your ass. I said, girl, I fell out laughing. And so that was that. And then Marlo took that opening and tried to apologize to Kenya. Honey, Kenya completely opposed. Was like, no, Miss Thing. And she just started blasting Marlo like, no, because see, a friend wouldn't do the things that you did. She started running down the list. Y'all know Kenya running down the list of different things that Marlo had done. And this, that. Child, Marlo ended up actually getting up and walking away. I was like, whatever, Marlo. Again, I can't. See, the thing is, you can't fight with me to the magnitude that Marlo and Kenya have fought and then get an attitude because now you want to bury the hatchet, and I don't. And I'm telling you, with me, generally, I ain't really interested. It's, a lot of times with me, it's to the dirt. So, girl, it is what it is. Just because you tired, the other person ain't got to be tired. You have to accept it. So, no, I don't feel sorry for you, Marlo. It just is what it is. Your mouth overloaded your ass. Girl, deal with it. Anyway, so she walked away, and that's where we broke out. So we'll see when we come back next week, or 2 weeks. It's going to be 2 weeks. There won't be no show next week. They won't be back until, or will they? No, because today is the, no, they will be back next week. Yeah, they'll be back next week, I'm thinking. Or is the Super Bowl next week? Whatever. Listen, I got DVR, so I won't miss the show. If it's, I don't think it's next week. I think we got a week in between. But look, if there's a show next week, there'll be a review next week. If it ain't, I think it's the Super Bowl is next week, so I don't think we're gonna have a show. So that's that. But we ain't getting ready to sit here and go all the way around. Just know I got DVR, baby. Whenever they show up, I'ma show up, and I'll see y'all then. Later. I did all that. I'm out of here. Bye, y'all.